Hey everyone, Pesmori here and welcome to Staffer Case. Great, you've got a time of death, so that counts as progress for the investigation, right? No, I can't agree with you on that. After all, each of our suspects visited the day within that 1 hour window. Isn't that true? Yeah, I guess we still don't know anything. I was just about to disagree with myself. We're just clueless, huh? What's wrong with her? Just don't mind her. I see. So the last person to confirm our suspect was alive is Miss Aston. The first to confirm his death is Miss Geller, and Mr. Vernon dropped by in the time in between. The fact that all three suspects can still be suspected of the crime means nothing has changed. How unfortunate! If we could narrow down the window of time, we might be able to narrow down our list of suspects. What if the victim was already dead when Vernon visited the scene of the crime? What if we had some way of proving that? If we were truly able to do that, we could clear Geller's subsequent visit and all suspicions it was her. Yeah, yet it's not but wishful thinking. Huh, is it though? Note, what do you think? Huh? Me? What do I think? Is there nothing I can raise an eyebrow at? Is there any clue we've collected so far that can lend truth to her suspicion? If we consider how Miss Aston was able to confirm the victim was alive, maybe we could use the opposite. Huh? Wait, what was I supposed to look out for again? Okay, Redfin said there's a good chance our victim was already dead by the time Vernon got to the scene of the crime. If we could think about the method Aston used to confirm the victim was alive, when Mr. Vernon visited the scene of the crime, he said he couldn't even hear the faintest rustling from inside. Moreover, we didn't detect an abnormal heartbeat when he said it. Indeed, thus we have no way of knowing whether our victim was dead or alive at the time. That's not true. There's a high possibility the victim was already dead at the time. What? What? How could you say there was any certainty? Oh wait, I don't know who said that, whatever. The memory survey. When the sergeant read the memories of the chair our corpse was found in, she heard the victim's snores. Yes, and the snoring continued before cutting out at one particular moment. Right, and what moment might that have been? The moment the victim was unalived? Isn't that obvious? Do you know of any dead people who can snore? The important part isn't that the victim stopped snoring. What's important is the fact that the snoring continued until the moment the victim was killed. Ah, I see. If the victim were still alive when Vernon dropped by the room, he would have heard the snores coming from inside, yet he didn't hear a single sound. In other words, when Mr. Vernon stopped at 8:45, it was after the victim had been murdered. This means any suspicions we had of Geller and her visiting the scene are cleared. No, that's not right. Julia Geller's skill is indiscernible object manipulation. So she's basically telekinetic, no? Even if she's not right in front of the door, couldn't she have killed the victim through a wall or something? About that, I don't think Miss Geller could have killed the victim from a distance. You're waiting for now to say that? Note, the reason we weren't able to prove Julia Geller was the murderer was because of the strange way she approached the victim and the possibility of a murder from a distance. Is there a reason for your change of heart? After arriving here, and the things I've heard so far, I believe we can say we have new information on Julia Geller. This information proves that Miss Geller couldn't have committed the murder from a distance. I got a document that proves it. Okay, that was actually it. Aston's testimony? Miss Aston spoke of something regarding Miss Geller briefly during her second testimony that piqued my interest. Right! I remember Aston saying the victim tormented Geller the most, yes? Correct. The reason for that being Geller's skill. Geller is able to make objects float, but she can't use that power however she'd like. Even if this were a simple case of telekinesis, it would take great powers of manipulation to kill someone through a wall. But with Miss Geller only able to float some objects, do you really think she'd be able to kill from afar? Is there a chance that Aston is wrong about that? It seems as though these people all use their skills during their performances, so unless they're hiding what they can do on purpose, the possibility she's got the wrong idea is quite low. Turns out that Geller would have needed to get quite close to the victim to commit the murder, so we're right back to our original hypothesis. Yet the conclusion this leads us to is the exact opposite. As long as it stands that Miss Geller didn't enter the scene of the crime during the window of time we've confirmed the victim died, Julia Geller had no means of carrying out the murder. With this, we can clear Julia Geller of suspicion. We've narrowed down our suspects to 2. But in the end, until we found out how the victim was murdered, it's impossible to identify our murderer. We still haven't figured out anything about our murder weapon either. It's fucking ice, mate. The puddle is there for a reason. It's not piss, I think. Have you tried licking it? For scientific research. For the investigation, I mean. We still know nothing about the most important details of the case. If I may, though I can't say anything for certain, I had a thought about our murder weapon. Maybe our murder weapon wasn't hidden. Do you think it might have actually vanished? Vanished? It seems that you and I are having the exact same thoughts. One of our suspects is able to craft a weapon just like that. Precisely! It's because of that skill It's because of the skill the suspect has. If these two are talking about our suspect's skills, maybe they're referring to this. Yeah, I wonder whose skill. Gotcha. I like how he's just like standing in front of Redfin. like could have shown Redfin stepping back or whatever, but he's just in front like that. Okay. The skill able to make a disappearing weapon is none other than Oz Aston's chain ice formation, right? In other words, you two think she crafted a weapon from ice. Nah, now it shows it her moving back or something. I don't know why. It's just a little bit funny. I don't know why. Precisely. That's precisely what I think. From the state of the corpse, it's clear that the weapon was heavy. Yes? There's no way of hiding such a thing. It's obvious that it's vanished, melting into a puddle. Whoa, I just gave myself goose flesh. Speaking of puddles, there was one at the scene of the crime, no? Yet, even if the weapon were made of ice, Miss Aston never opened the door. We have no footprints that indicate she ever entered the premises. Well, she must have had her ways, no? Her ways are exactly why we're here to investigate. There may have been a way around leaving footprints. If you take a look at the trace photo, there are a few square impressions left at the scene of the crime. Yeah, you're right about that. What the hell could have left such impressions? I thought they might have been like little stepping stones made of ice. If Aston were to only step on blocks she made of ice, would it be possible for her to hide her footprints? It's just a thought, but what do you all think? Oh! As the Americans say, Brian, give me some skin. What? What Americans say that? That sounds kind of cannibalistic. Or, indeed. No, wait, no, what does that phrase mean? Does that have a meaning? Give me some skin. Yeah, sure. That sounds kinda degrading to women or guys. Depends on your viewpoint, I guess. Oh, okay. It means interjection. Give me some skin. Slang. A request for the Okay, whatever. I give up. I give up. No. I search up a definition of a phrase, and now I see a word where I have to search up the definition for. So understand this. I don't care. Indeed. Sure. Oh, so it's just a high five. Okay, let me... It's a high five? Okay, now the definition makes sense, but still. Who the fuck says that? Give me some skin. Yeah, sure. Let me say that to some random ass person on the street. People normally say up top. Or put her there. Not give me some skin. You fucking cannibal. Well, the sergeant, she seems bothered by something. Well, I'm bothered by that phrase. Okay, let's go with that. Let's say the killer crept on some ice slabs and killed the victim with a blunt instrument made of ice. Then what would she do on her way back? Come to think of it, isn't ice slippery, so what if she actually tried to and then she just slipped and fell? That would be kind of funny. She could just leave them where they were, no? They'd melt anyway. What if someone went in the room before they had time to melt? Would she have to stand guard in front of the room with the corpse until then? Well, if she could have somehow melted them, it's a bit of a logical stretch, but just in case. Shall I help them work through this? How could she have melted ice in a jiffy? It's not as though the Mies aren't there. It's a tag team battle. They're in cahoots. Don't you know? Fire! Yeah! If Vernon used his ignition skill, it would have been possible for them to have melted the ice slabs. Indeed, that's the ticket. Aston and Vernon are accomplices in this crime. Note, give me some skill. What? I'll take a rain check. I'll write you in for 8 o'clock then. Note, you're not actually entertaining their idea, are you? Don't you think it fits? The water on the floor, it's clearly what Aston used for her skill's catalyst. Then they must have melted the ice they used for the murder weapon with Vernon's skill. That's why the carpet was soaked. Are there really no holes in Detective Zena and Detective Brian's reasoning? I should have one more look at the clues I've gathered. There might be something I'm missing. Somewhere. Was the puddle on the carpet really made when blocks of ice were made by Miss Aston melted? I clearly remember Aston's skill having an important difference when compared to the other suspects. Yeah, it needs a catalyst. Oh yeah. And skin contact. Okay, there it is. Finally. I'm gonna be using that hint button a lot, huh? Where did the hints... whatever, I don't need to worry about that. Thank you, game, for having hints. Thank you. My apologies, but the water left on the floor couldn't have served as her catalyst. Excuse me, what are you saying exactly? Note, are you a spy? Only in Team Fortress 2. The game really has too many bots. I miss when it was not full of bots. I miss updates. But I miss playing the game and not being insta-headshotted. Okay, moving on. Please just have a quick look at at her bureau file. Unlike our other suspects, Aston's needs a catalyst. These catalysts serve as certain conditions that need to be met for a skill to be put to use. In Aston's case, she needs water to use her skill. Yes, but specifically she needs purified water to use her skill. Why does that matter? Read the documents carefully. The liquid at the scene of the crime was entirely black tea. I see. Black tea is hardly purified water, it's leaf water. Sorry, Uncle Iroh. Miss Aston couldn't have used it as her catalyst. Then our logic is... hogwash. I guess it is. Brian, I'd like to return the skin you slapped me. Rather unfortunate. I thought our logic was quite sound. Now she's going on about returns? Okay, sure. No, I'm not gonna press enter. I'm gonna left click. Screw you. giving hope to people who've got none going for them is only to rip that hope away. You're absolutely wicked, Note. I would hardly say we've got nothing going for us. Did I do something wrong? Well, their logic didn't really have a leg to stand on in the first place. If Aston had made a weapon out of ice, we would have found a large tub to hold all that water. Though I must say, it was rather entertaining. Who's calling who wicked now? One way or another, we've still got the same problem. After all this, we still have no one who could have killed the victim. That's where you're wrong. As long as we have the victim's corpse on our hands, our killer has to be out there. However, we're considering that every staffer in this troop could be the culprit. We couldn't have smudged Mr. Smidge out of a clue. Then it is all about the ice, huh? You've really got a thing for ice, huh, Athena? Yet, from the lack of footprints, it's clear that no one entered the room during the time window when our victim died. And they couldn't have just flown in. Plus, I simply cannot think of a way for any of them to have committed a crime without stepping foot inside. After all, the range of our suspect's skills are all so short. How on earth did this happen then? This is the first time all three members of our division have used their skills and not been able to find the culprit. So we have to rely on our fourth member. Ah, you're talking about me again. Indeed, you're our newest member, so try your hand. The responsibility shoveled onto the rookie is more burdensome than I thought. Even without her saying all that, I have no intention of giving up at this point. Accepting suicide. We've got to have a culprit on the loose. However, we've got no clues that the crime scene to go on. Every piece of information contradicts another. Let me think. Is there anyone we're leaving out? Anyone who could have made the impossible possible? The only possibility we have, we've talked about that seems genuinely feasible is... Oh man. The victim's name is... okay, whatever. There may have been one other person, someone able to enter the room without leaving a single trace. In the end, it's back to the ice, huh? You've already concluded that wasn't the case. And your theory is starting to be less entertaining. But note, you're not making much sense either. Unless our culprit can sprout wings and fly, there's no way they could have possibly avoided being detected by me and Sarge. That's exactly what happened. Our culprit flew. Excuse me, none of our suspects have a skill like that. One does. But you're right, none can fly per se. Maybe we can say it's more like jumping through the air. What? Jumping through the air? I feel like I've read that somewhere before. Maybe right here? Ah, right! It's right there! The jumping jester! This poster! Right here! Yep, the person we've been searching for is pictured right here. Really? We went like... well, she's not guilty. All the way back to, well, she fucking did it. Okay. Our jumping jester was able to enter the scene of the crime without leaving a single footprint. Thus it's possible that our jumping jester was able to murder the victim. And all of the people we know, I can think of only one jester. The clown of Trump Tower, Julia Geller. For that one person only, this crime becomes possible. In the end, after winding around for this long, we're back at the beginning with Geller being our culprit. No, if we had singled out Geller as our culprit in the beginning, she would have had a number of ways to argue how she was innocent. However, now that we've reached this point and erased every other possibility, the conclusion may be the same, but we're finally coming face to face with the truth of this case for the first time. As unfortunate as the truth may be... God damn it. Why? Is it a skill issue? What now? Miss Geller, we saw the poster with all of you on it. We're well aware of the fantastic stunts you're able to pull off. Yes? And? But of course your stunt, Miss Geller. What was it called again? I can't quite remember. If you got nothing to say to me, can I go back with the others? Note, stop with the fanfare and get to the point. Miss Geller, stunt is being able to walk on air, right? Actually, it's leaping. I mean, leaping, dancing, whatever, man. The important thing is that you're able to enter the scene of the crime without leaving a single footprint using that stunt of yours. So it seems. Huh? Why does that surprise you? What? No, you're not using that as a way of suspecting me for this, are you? But you're the only person who was able to enter the scene of the crime without leaving any footprints. I'm always going in and out of there. Even if I were to leave a footprint after committing some sort of crime, I could say they were from shortly before. You actually couldn't have because of... shit. She doesn't know we can tell everything to the time trace evidence. Whatever. In other words, even if she is our culprit, even if I were the killer, I wouldn't have to go to the trouble of hovering. Plus, I'm not that good at controlling my skill in the first place. I don't really use it except on stage. Or is it that you have evidence I used my skill at the scene of the crime? About that, could you give me a moment? What should I do? I don't know why, it's just funny. The presentation, I mean. What do you think? Geller's claims are reasonable. After all, there's no way for her to know of Brian's skill. She's right that she'd have no reason to float through the air to enter the room. Even if she were to leave a set of footprints, she'd have no way of proving those prints were at the time of the crime without my skill. It can't be. Did I get it wrong again? Again? Still, I think you've got the right idea, Note. Huh? In her statements thus far, Geller's been quite easy to get worked up, but now that she's being pointed out as our prime suspect... Will you be much longer? Could you wait outside for a moment? See, she's keeping calm and collected. She's probably expected this moment would come, and she prepared her encounter and guard... Blah! 2 a.m. is the death of my brain. She prepared her counter-arguments well. Well, I think that's the case. We can't be sure. No, what you're saying sounds plausible. What do you all think? When it comes to Thena and a suspect's psyche, she's never wrong. I believe you can trust her call. Thena, As I should have known, there's a reason she's in charge of the interrogations. Still comes as a shock. Geller stepped through the air as she entered our crime scene. But her reason for doing so wasn't to hide any trace of her being in there. In other words, she had a different reason for her using her skill. I'm not sure what that could have been though. We're still lacking some sort of clue. You really think so? 3 staffers have already looked into the case. We've uncovered lies, detected the invisible, and read into the past. No matter the skill, it's impossible for a culprit not to leave behind some sort of clue. A clue remains, we just overlooked it. We wrote it off as something that didn't pertain to the case because it was all too neat. It's not that the clues are lacking, but our overall logic. That's my feeling in this case. In the end, it's all feelings and perceptions. Aston covered that the victim was alive at 8 o'clock and Vernon confirmed he was dead by 8:45. Somewhere in between, Geller must have used her skill to sneak into that room. When she did, she must have left a clue. Is there really nothing to go on? Was everything at the scene of the crime? Was there no suspicious trace of evidence during the time frame our crime was committed? Huh, okay. That was it, huh? When you say clue, something does come to mind. There were those square impressions left at the crime scene. Do you all remember them? Right, the ones Brian claimed were stepping stones made of ice. We concluded they weren't ice in the end. Exactly, then we naturally just moved past them. But now that I'm thinking about them again, they were made at 8:30. That's within the time frame the victim was murdered. Thus, they must be connected to the crime. But why were they even made? About that, it's not just those impressions. There's still so many clues in the case we can't come up with proper explanations for. Our overall hypothesis is wrong. Something I believe to be true has turned out to be false. If the one falsehood led to these errors. Sergeant. Yes, what is it? Going to make a bit of a mess. What? Hey, stop! What are you doing? Why are you fooling with all these official documents? Note, I think you should fix this habit of yours of taking your stress out on inanimate objects. This isn't about stress. If it's not, then we have even more to worry about. I've been thinking about things all wrong. The secrets hiding the deepest can't be solved by simply connecting 2 clues. However, if you connect all the fragments left at different places... I have no idea what you're talking about, but are you saying you can make sense of this? No. I am. I'm using supernatural abilities to investigate a case where someone with a supernatural ability killed someone else with a supernatural ability. In this situation, it would be insane to stick with common sense. I've already gathered my clues. Let's toss out common sense. Let's take every basis of thought and smash them all. Holy shit. What? got it! What did I get? I'm surprised you even got that far, to be honest. I've unlocked it! That's it. If you're gonna think about it like that, that explains everything. And to prove it, Miss Geller, please come back in. Is your strategy session finishing up? It is. And from that strategy session, we've come up with a suggestion for you. What might that be? Wait, let's see what he's going to do. Miss Geller, your stunt is leaping through the air. So could you show that to Detective Cena and Brian here? Well, I'm sorry, but that would be quite difficult. As I said before, I'm not that good at controlling my skill. Those two could be in danger if they're too close. It's fine. Wait a tick! It's not much for me. It's not very much... Whatever. She just said it's too dangerous for us. You two won't get too close when Miss Geller performs her stunt. If you wish, we have no problem setting up a suitable location for you. We just need you to show it to us a single time. If you just show us, I promise we won't bother you or your friends any longer. What a fucking lie. Wait a second, Note. That's quite the promise to be tossing out there. I'll permit it. Paddy! Have you lost your marbles? Sorry. I want to see what happens next. Perhaps my curiosity has gotten the better of me. Well, if the Sarge has given her permission, there's nothing we can do. Am I the only one who's thinking about her job and her salary? I accept. You're not going to back out on your end of the promise, right? Of course not. I can swear to whatever god you believe in. I just... The only problem is that he's atheist, so he doesn't have to make any promises. That's my headcanon. Well then, let me begin right here. As I said, you mustn't get too close. This is my stunt. My word! And people pay to see this! I'll have you know I even juggle up here when I take the stage. This stunt. What on earth? Hey, don't give her that much grief for it. After all, she's showing it us for free. You started it. Shut up. That's not it. It's just... Detective Brian, please describe exactly what you're seeing. How does Miss Geller's levitation look through your eyes? She's not levitating. As soon as she rose through the air, below her, I saw a trace of that same square. It's the same as the trace evidence left at the scene of the crime. Trace? No, you're a staffer. There must be contact between two objects for a trace to be left. In other words, you're not making yourself float through the air. You're just stepping up and standing there. There's an invisible object between under you and you created it. No! What's this about an invisible object? This is all coming out of nowhere. This is your real skill, Miss Geller. You can create invisible objects of any size and manipulate them at will. To put it in official terms, indiscernible object fabrication. Ugh. What? But her telekinesis! Everyone thought of it like that, but that's not the case. Not the case. This is the piece of puzzle that wasn't fizzing. I said that wrong, but I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. 3 AM me is getting retarded, or I am always retarded, I don't know. Miss Geller, from the very beginning, you've been hiding your true power. this stunt you have from leaping through the air, it isn't that you're lifting up your body with your skill. You've just been making invisible footholds and jumping on them. Telekinesis. The label sounds rather grandiose, yet the statements of the audience members and those around Geller were consistent, so I never doubted them. Note, you may not know this yet, but it's a serious crime to lie about one's skill in this country. Why would Geller take such risks to hide her skill like that? She only began to hide her skill after coming under the employ of Trump Tower. Is this grammatically correct, or is this just English in its pure form? When you think of all that happened back then, it's rather easy to predict exactly why Miss Geller felt it necessary to hide her true skill. When the victim first saw Miss Geller leaping through the air, he must have thought, I finally found it! I finally found the acrobat I've been looking for, wielding the power of telekinesis. Yeah, yet it was all too good to be true. Her true skill was creating invisible objects. As time passed, Miss Geller realized she wasn't the person the ringleader was looking for. Thus, she began her efforts to hide this fact from him. All this matches your statement. Isn't that right, Miss Geller? Your string of lies. They were all to keep you at Trump Tower. I can't get over it, man. The truth you tried to hide. It's not just a range or some small intricacy hiding your skill, and now we all know it. The truth of your skill itself was a grand forgery. Your skill doesn't use telekinesis. Telekinesis plays no part in it. How? How did a staffer become an investigator? What do you mean by that? They're not supposed to? I think I get it now. I think I understand how you saw through all my lies. It's not just that gentleman there. Every investigator in this room is a staffer. Isn't that right? Bracelets aren't lit up, but you wear them just like other staffers. She found us out. Though strictly speaking, I'm no staffer. You have no connections to the Bureau, so you wouldn't understand. However, some divisions do employ a number of staffers. They mainly keep it confidential so it doesn't interfere with operations. Should you be telling her that? No need to hide such information from our perpetrator. After all, I doubt she's going to continue resisting. I mean, is she going to be in jail for life, or is she going to get executed? Just as you said, Detective, my skill has nothing to do with telekinesis. Instead, I'm able to create invisible objects at will. The objects are more or less cube-shaped, but I can create them in various weights and sizes, making them handy in a variety of situations. That's probably how the word manipulation worked. It's the way into my name. A skill name. I've been placing objects on top of my invisible objects and floating them around, calling it telekinesis. She's rather brave to try to deceive everyone around her like that. But of course, you know everything now, yes? How I killed the ringleader. What I used to kill him. Come to think of it, we still haven't figured that part out yet. Huh? No way! The weapon! You still haven't found it, huh? This isn't good. What? In the end, I turned out to be quite the bad girl. To hide my skill from the ringleader, basically my family. I have no excuse for the fraud you accuse me of. However, I didn't kill him. Is she telling the truth? Or is she trying to hold on to us? Hold out on us? Miss Geller, you're the only person we can say for sure committed this crime. I couldn't have done it either. After all, there's no murder weapon. You've got trace evidence on the floor, yes? Do you have any proof it was my skill that left it there? As I said before, I had no reason for using my skill to go into that room. And even if I did go in there, I had no weapon to kill him with. You think I'd do that to his head with my bare hands? Don't be absurd. Are you trying to make me lose my job here? I think you already lost it. I think you already lost it, okay? Ringleader, dead. You lost it. The audacity of this bitch. So time for you to keep your word. No more questions for any of us. I think it might be time to reveal what the vanishing weapon might be. Sergeant, have any ideas? Me? No, but obviously you're about to figure it out. When was that made obvious exactly? This is my first day on the job. Right, and I'm relieved to see you're adjusting so well. The arduous path I'm about to set out on is slowly coming to light. Now that I think about it, you've talked about the disappearing weapon quite a number of times, but we haven't uncovered a single thing about it. All we can be sure of is that it had a considerable heft to it, otherwise a single blow to the head wouldn't be enough. It's not that easy to cave in a person's skull, so the object in question has to weigh at least 20 kilograms. For something like that to just disappear. You think such a thing to be impossible, but since the deceased remains a murder victim, we have to say it was possible. Geller must have some means of making the impossible possible. Let's look through our documents one more time. There may be a piece of evidence that can be used to that can be seen in a new light. Yeah, sure. Okay, alrighty then. I finally figured you out, bitch. I know now how you killed the victim. What? Did you really figure it out? What was the weapon? No, but more importantly, where did it go? Was it actually ice in the end? Please let the ice bit go. The weapon didn't vanish. It was never there. There was no weapon. Eh? There was never a weapon to begin with, and honestly, that only serves to further prove that Miss Geller is our culprits. What's that supposed to mean? I truly don't follow a word. Everyone, take a look at this. Specifically, check the notes section at the bottom. This is where they write down a brief description of the skill. This is talking about the maximum weight that can be transferred to an object or the weight limit of the object to be moved. No, we figured out that Geller's skill is in telekinesis, so the info written here. The information is talking about the properties of the objects Geller can create, yes? Wait a minute, was it there last time? That's right! Now the information on her bureau file refers to the weight, number, size, and duration of the objects in question. And the part we should be paying attention to is the weight. The weight limit is 20 kilograms! I heard that exact number just a second ago. That's the number the sergeant quoted. She said the murder weapon must have weighed at least 20 kilos. Finally, A weapon! That we have. We now know what you mean in saying it never existed. Miss Geller. Only Miss Geller could have done this without a weapon. Only she was able to make her own weapon. Yeah. Can't see it? Don't need to carry it around? And it vanishes after the time runs out. You use that as a weapon only you could use. You used an object you created with your skill to murder your victim. Haha, you make a better clown than me. You really think I could swing around a cube that weighs 20 kilograms? Let's just imagine I could do that. Our ringleader's head was smashed to bits. Do I look that strong to you? In truth, you wouldn't have to swing it. Don't you remember what you said before? Your skill allows you to create objects wherever you will them. Now, you can make one wherever you please. In other words, your transparent objects don't only appear at your feet. You can create one anywhere within 2 meters of your body. For example, above his head. If a 20-kilo object that appeared high above the victim's head were to fall straight down, wouldn't such a situation be within the realm of possibility? Heh, that's unfortunate. What is? The situation you describe is impossible. That wouldn't leave the ringleader's head in the state I found it. You can make an object weighing up to 20 kilograms, as long as you drop it from high enough. That's just the thing, dropping it from high enough. I couldn't pull that off. Was that supposed to... I get it. Your range, right? Her range? Seems like someone is thinking like a normal human. That's exactly right. My range is only 2 meters. I can't create any object outside that range. Even if I were to drop something from 2 meters up, I'd have to be really lucky to kill someone. Busting in a skull like that is simply impossible. Ah. If things went how you say they went, I have to drop it at least double that. I need to drop it from at least 4 meters up. 4 meters? That's a specific number. How can you be so sure of the height? I've tried a few things out with my skills. For the sake of our shows, of course. Note, I'm sorry, but I was thinking the same. An object falling from 2 meters wouldn't have done that to our corpse. Are you starting to understand? So, just give it up. You promised. I'm sorry, but I simply can't do that. Just as Detective Thena said, Miss Geller stayed calm and collected, sticking to the script she prepared in advance, though I could hear a slight tremor in her voice. I'm slowly driving her to a corner. There hasn't been a single flaw in my logic up to this point. It's clear the victim was killed by a falling object. Yet, it's as Miss Geller claims, her range is insufficient for the crime. In order for Geller to have committed the crime, she would have to make up for the height difference somehow. For instance, she would have had to climb up onto another piece of furniture before using her skill. No, and if that were the case, Brian would have seen her footprints on the furniture with his skill. There were no such footprints. In fact, at the time of the crime, Miss Geller left no footprints in the room at all, yet... Speaking of which, there is something that happened when Miss Geller entered the room. I have one more suspicion. Perhaps that suspicion can turn into a clue. Note, there's no way Miss Geller's getting out of this one. This may be the final answer we're seeking. Tell me, what did she use to create an object 4 meters above the victim's head? What? Really? That was it? Okay then. Once you stop and think about it, there's something else we haven't figured out besides our murder weapon. Something else? Why is it that Miss Geller used the objects she made to enter the room? But of course! Have you figured out the reason why? Yes, and the answer to that question is connected to the means Miss Geller used to murder her victim. Miss Geller was intent on using her skill to kill her victim. However, she wasn't sure if a swing of one of her objects will kill him instantaneously. If the victim didn't die immediately and were to let out a yell, that would spell big trouble for her. That's why she settled on dropping the object from a height to do him in. Yet she knew that range was too short. There was also no guarantee that an object dropped from 2 meters would silence him in one blow. I think it would, to be honest. What? Did you say you were going to explain why she used her skill to enter the room? You haven't figured it out? Why did Miss Geller use her skill to go inside? How could she be certain she could kill him instantly when she was lacking height? Each question provides an answer to the other. If I can sum up what you're trying to say, the reason Geller used her skill to enter the room was to make sure she killed him with a single blow. Ah! That's why. It is. She thought up a plan, a way to create an object at a height that would surely kill her victim. No, when I think about it like that, I'd be willing to bet she already knew her plan, huh? Miss Geller's solution. It was none other than the stunt she pulled on stage. Her stunt? By that you mean the air-walking clown bit? As she puts it, the jumping jester. Isn't that right, bitch? Miss Geller can only create objects up to 2 meters from her body. If she wants to create an object higher than that, she'd have to climb higher. Leaping really high up in the air. Again, this music is amazing. That's why she used her skill to enter the room. To get up toward the height required to commit the murder. Yeah. Geller's range is 2 meters. That means she could create a foothold up to 2 meters away. After that, she climbs up those 2 meters. Another 2 meters from that, she creates an object that will take a life. The resulting object will be 4 meters off the ground. Miss Geller, that satisfies the condition for the murder you set yourself. However, if you check the trace left at the crime, you can see other footholds she created starting at the entrance. How can that be? Miss Geller's skill, all the invisible objects she's been able to create. If she started with a block 2 meters high, she'd never be able to climb it. That's right. So she started with some lower steps, and then she slowly increased the height of the footholds as she climbed each one. Just like a set of stairs. So it really isn't an air-walking clown. I see the jumping jester thing now. That's exactly how she committed her crime too. Even before entering the room, she was already on a small step. Then little by little, she climbed, moving ever closer to her victim. By the time Geller was in front of the victim, she was close to her maximum height of 2 meters. Then at her maximum height, Miss Geller made the largest object she could at 20 kilograms and let it fall. She took the life of the victim who slept beneath her, and she made sure she finished the deed. Anyone else could have seen the victim was deceased. Miss Geller then fled the scene of the crime, relieved to be done with it. If there was one thing you didn't consider, it was your nightly routine, yes? The victim had a habit of drinking a cup of coffee every night at 9, and it was your job to bring it to him. You knew that as the first person to find the body, you'd be suspected for the crime, but you could not go either. If you differed from your usual schedule, you'd draw suspicion from the police. In the end, you made the cup of coffee as usual and made your way to the victim's office. But there was no one there to drink it. Miss Julia Geller, you are the culprit. Yes, it was me. I killed the ringleader. Well then, I shall call the probation's office. Indeed, I'll leave that to you. So these are the cuffs that you only use on staffers. Rumor has it that there's a bomb inside that will explode if I resist. Nope, not true. Nothing is dangerous. Just a high voltage electrical current and a neurotoxin. Well, that's still dangerous. For me, that might as well be a bomb. Sorry, rules are rules. But you never know when an invisible brick is gonna fall on my head, correct? Harsh rules, considering today's events though, does seem justifiable. Why won't you let us in? I just want to see her face. Geller couldn't have done that. Let us talk to her. Julia, can you hear us? Don't say a word until we get to the station, okay? Mr. Vernon? Us? Zena, go help Brian outside. Ah. Come to think of it, there's one thing we haven't quite figured out yet. Huh? That can't be right. Miss Julia Geller, the part of your statement about not holding a grudge against the victim was no lie. Then why? Why kill the man? You know the ringleader held a considerable debt, right? To settle his debt, he was going to sell off the Trump Tower circus troupe. Oh boy. He said he was going to sell not only the theater, but also the right to perform under the Trump Tower brand. When I was called to his office at 7:30, the ringleader spilled the black tea I brought him and yelled at me like he was getting something off his chest. He said all of it was my fault. That everything was how it was because I was such a lousy person. I couldn't disagree with the man. But everyone said the debt was because of his gambling, no? Yet, he said the reason he turned to gambling was because of the declining profits of the theater. That part I'm responsible for. This woman. She's blaming herself for everything all night. How'd she get into this state? No therapy, no friends, no family, that's how. I pleaded with him. I said I'd do anything he asked if he'd just hold on a little longer. And that's when he hit me. I knew it was coming. I'm not the sort of person to change. He's not the sort of person to change his mind just because I opened my mouth. I had to stop him, but there was only one way to do that. And by that you mean killing him? For me, it was all I could do. Trump Tower is the only place I could live like any other normal human. Instead of this place, I'd rather... In the end, he figured out it was me who did it. But things didn't turn out so bad. The rights to Trump Tower will fall to Vernon. The three of us were going to continue together if we could... Are you happy? What? Whatever reason you might have, you still killed a man. Don't you feel the least bit guilty? Guilty. Am I even allowed to feel something like guilt? How can I put this? I'm sad that the person is dead. Can I really say I regret it after everything I've done? If someone who brutally killed another person were to turn around and have the nerve to cry about it, would you really accept that? Sergeant, I'm sorry, but would you mind if I waited at the car? Alright, you've done enough. Miss Geller, due to the provisions of the contract made between the Bureau and the Attorney General's office, you'll be sent to a prison belonging to the former. I'll give you a moment to talk to the others. They're not listening to us anyway, so make your peace. Alright. And sorry for today. No, I'm sorry. On my first day of work, I was nearly shot at and kicked off the force, but in the end I solved the case. So why do I feel this way? On top of that, I can't see Big Ben from here either. What was my reason exactly? What on earth brought me to this city? The director? Hey, looks like you solved the case. Stopping by again. You came back all alone? I sent Note off because he needed to get some air. Note, huh? I see you've grown I see you've grown a liking to Detective Case. How is he? Up to snuff? He's definitely helped us out, and he's quite the talented individual compared to me. However, I think calling him a genius, as you did, is pushing it. He's a little clumsy in places, and more than anything, he's severely lacking in his understanding of phenomena. So, that's not the whole job, is it? 42 minutes. Besides the time it took us to get there and back, that's how long he spent on this case. Excepting the time it took us to survey the crime scene, that is significantly shorter than before. Before Notrick came along, it took us 3 times that at our fastest. It normally takes people time to read through and comprehend the documents, time to understand all the clues and come to a conclusion. Notrick's logical abilities need neither. There's almost no gap between him receiving a question and coming up with an answer. Honestly, following his steps in logic is too much to ask. 42 minutes, sure, but I spent way too long, okay? Like, canonically 42 minutes? Actually, 3 hours. It's not simply a matter of intelligence either. That kid, are you sure he's no staffer? From the way he describes it, when he focuses on something, he feels like time around him ceases to flow. So he has ADHD? Autism? Doesn't explain much. However, no manner was detected from Detective Case that you'd normally find when staffers use their skills. You know what that means, right? Zawardo Tokyo Tamare. Notrick's abilities stem purely from his talent. Seems that way. phenomenal abilities indistinguishable from phenomena. Actually, maybe it's more than that. Rather interesting, is it not? Imagine what a talented boy could do in the city when he's not weighed down by the disadvantages of being a staffer. Is that the only reason you hired him? Sergeant Redfins, the tone you took makes me feel like this is an interrogation, and that bothers me a bit. My apologies. Why the sharp tone? So they not go your way? Quite the opposite. Our case is closed, so I was just going to go out for a smoke. Smoking's bad for you. You should turn to sweets like me. I stopped by this new ice cream parlor in the square, and it's not half bad. If you knew you'd bring it up, you should have brought some to share. It would have melted. Whew, what a view! Is someone there? Ah, Sergeant. How'd you find this place? The way up here is an absolute maze, and I'm pretty much the only one able to navigate it. I saw the map on the 4th floor and noticed a space that looked different from the other floors, so... Okay, I think I follow. Still, it'd be better if you didn't wander around too much. If you wander into a prohibited area, it'll be the firing squad for you. I figured it out a short time ago, but as I expected, our employer is the worst around. Hearing you say that, I guess you're finally a fully fledged employee. Honestly, I thought you were joking just a second ago. I'm honored you think that. Cigarette? No, I don't smoke. Alright. Nice view, huh? Can I see it? It's blocked by this big-ass text box. You can barely see through the fog. Right? Good luck today. Honestly, it's not that good a view on a clear day. There are only factories and a slum out that way. It's only when the fog covers all that muck the view is worth looking at. At least, it's worth looking at for me. Sergeant, those 3 at Trump Tower, they seem to harbor some resentment towards the Bureau. I noticed that harbor is spelled without a U. It's either American spelling or my spelling is just wrong. But seeing how intelligent I am, it might be I'm wrong. I mean, it does seem natural for them to not like us since we placed regulation on staffers. But this seems more than that. It was something Miss Geller said. Just being a staffer is like a wound you have to live with. Sergeant, is life as a staffer in this city difficult? It is. Why? Don't your skills make life easier for you? If you want the answer to the question, you only need to take a look at a bureau file. A bureau file? There's a part of every bureau file that shows just how staffers are viewed in the city. Do you know which part I'm referring to? You're talking about the threat level. That's right. Giving the staffers a threat level presumes every staffer poses a threat. We predict the amount of damage each staffer is capable of causing, and we regulate them accordingly. Yeah, but sometimes it's wrong, okay? Let's be real. Um, like, Yulia, she was assigned Colt, which is a gun, but in the end she has to get so fucking close to the person, she might as well just be wielding a knife. At the Colt level, Yulia might as well have been born with a revolver in her hand. Again, I think it might be wrong. We restrict her access to public places, to certain places, so it would have been impossible for her to find a proper job. Then add to that the amount of discrimination she has to tolerate from the rest of society. Of course, there are times when a skill is recognized as useful, and the Bureau hires the staffer on. Have you noticed the metal bracelets Thea and Brian wear? I got one of them under my sleeve too. All staffers are required by law to wear them. The performers at Trump Tower were wearing those bracelets too, huh? But unlike the ones Detective Brian wears, theirs were lit up. The lights represents the staffer's threat level. Geller and Vernon were yellow for their Colt level, and Aston was green for her Bowie level. Staffers who work at the Bureau are unable to hide the color of their lights. That's why my bracelet isn't lit up. Huh. In other words, staffers outside the Bureau are required by law to wear a bracelet that displays their threat level. Staffers are treated like they were threats from the moment they were born and can never hide the fact they have skills. Miss Geller. That's why she was so obsessed about her fellow performers at Trump Tower. I have no idea what sort of ideals brought you to London, but I think, just maybe, this isn't the sort of place you thought it was going to be. You're right about that. I'm not sure what it was that brought me here. Money? I told myself it was to make use of my talents to help people, but I doubt it was really for something so noble. It's like I wanted to be the protagonist of a... Hold on, let me look behind me for a minute. I hope nothing's behind me. I'm afraid this is doing more than breaking down the fourth wall. Okay, I feel like they broke into my house. Okay, and they might be going around. Maybe they're behind. I don't know. And now that I said that, I'm too scared to go outside now, and I need to take a piss so badly. Why did I have to scare myself like that? I can't get over this. It's like I wanted to be the protagonist of a detective novel, solving some cryptic case at a single glance, revered by those around me, making a good deal of cash, finding cases with a dim-witted assistant tagging along. That's vaguely what I imagined. Honestly, I never actually thought I'd be able to live that sort of life, but still, I accepted the offer to join the team because I thought I could put my talent to good use. But once I solved the case, I figured something out. The person who was killed wasn't a character from a novel. He was real. He? It was a real person who killed him. Oh, right. I was the only character there, the relaxed inspector. Then I started having these thoughts. Was there no better alternative for the victim and the culprit? Will Geller try to get revenge on me if she's let out of prison? Why did I go through all that to catch the criminal when no one was rewarded for her being behind bars? You get to keep your job. That's your reward. Did I really do the right thing? Still, with all that, they're just thoughts. The victim, Houdin, started out as a respectable ringleader. That only changed when Julia Geller joined the Trump Tower Troop. Okay. Is this... So, this in this fictional world, the Trump Tower is a circus. Is this... Are the game developers trying to tell me something? Tell us something? Guys? Because what I'm getting is... Because what I understand from what you're trying to say, or at least may not be saying, what I get from that is funny, but I don't want to end up in jail. Houdin took out a loan to buy props for Julia Geller's performance, but the returns were poor. Houdin started gambling to try to pay off the debts the circus took on. Then the addiction took hold. Geller said it herself. All the blame was on her. Geller knew she caused it all, so she was ready to protect Trump Tower at all costs. Then she settled on murder, the worst means possible. Geller continued after that. She said she was looking for someone to stop her and punish her for her crimes. Perhaps Geller's actually grateful that you solved the case. Are you serious? No, that last part was a lie. Isn't that going too far? Seriously! If what I said were true, would that give our job some other meaning? No. A detective's job is always the same note. We're here to find the truth. It's not our job to make the world a better place or to tell right from wrong. We're just here to find the truth. If it's something else you're wanting, use the time you'd grumble and gripe to get on a plane or whatever and head back home. However, if you don't know what you want, then stay here. Stay, find whatever truth may come, and keep on complaining like you are today. After all, there are certain things that stay just the way that starts just that way, making the world a better place, telling right from wrong. Maybe you'll find whatever it is you're looking for along the way. Shall we head back to work? We still got the reports to write up about our case today. Could I stay here just a bit more? It's sort of hazy, but I think I can make out the hands of a clock out there. Unfortunate, really. This place used to be all mine. Too bad. He earned that shit. Good. Just like that, we'll summarize the events just as they occurred. I just have to write it out like this? That should be sufficient. Now we just need to sign it at the bottom, and that's that. When you're done with that one, fill out this one. Isn't this the same document we just filled out? That last document was our report to the Detective Chief Inspector. This is what we will send out to the police. Try to avoid referencing skills as much as possible while you fill this one out. I guess city people have their fair share of inconveniences too. Does anyone have a supernatural power that allows them to automatically fill out paperwork? There are no supernatural powers. Right, I know. They're skills, right? Because supernatural powers make them sound cultish. Indeed, you're catching on. To be honest, it's kinda like the other way around, but also a cult at the same time. So it's like not a cult, but also a cult at the same time. In my weird head, I don't know why, because they're treated like shit. But among them, it might be a bit cultish. I don't know how it sounds, but that could also be attributed to them being, whatever. I'll just explain it later to those like 2 people watching. 1 person watching. Is anyone going to watch this? Note. The first time we met, I was quite disrespectful, and I still haven't apologized for that, right? Stop. You don't need to. And I guess I won't. Hiring you on was the right decision. Thanks? Congratulations! Congratulations, because you solved the case. Congratulations! Apologies for the late return. Did you have a lot of work to do? It did take longer than expected. Were the roads congested? About that, you were late because we had to pick this up. A cake? Indeed. It's a bit of a welcoming gift, and a celebration for the first case you solved. It's for me? Come now, you were completely blown away! We had no idea you solved such a complicated case. I guess the chief gets a few things right every once in a while. It's quite fortunate we had you on the case today, Note. It's got happy birthday written on it. That's the only one they had left. Come now, it's a cake! What's written on it isn't important. Here, Note, blow out your candles. Huh? Okay. Cheers! Bloody terrific! This whole affair. Now it's really a birthday party. Note, I do apologize. I'll make you a proper cake later on. Huh? I'm not angry or anything, it's just I've never been welcomed like this. Actually, I had a similar thought to yours. I'm just glad to be part of this place. Right, I see. Well then, shall we eat? Whoa. The acoustics are pretty loud. And nice sounding, actually. Shall we eat? I'll go fetch something to cut it with. Sorry, I'm just vibing to it for a second, okay? Okay, give me like 10 seconds. This is amazing. And it just got better. Okay, that's nice. My word! My word! Doesn't that just warm your heart? You've got a lot to look forward to. Speaking of which, Note, when's your actual birthday? I don't know. Huh? I'm an orphan. I never knew my parents. Well, that's awkward. That's very awkward. She was going to shoot an orphan, and she was gonna fire an orphan. He was the only one decent to the orphan. Points to you, Brian. Points to you. Pardon? Even my name, Notrick, was given to me by my previous employer. Ah. What's wrong with everyone? Nothing. Nothing at all. What happened to all the energy from before? Note, you're the star of the show. You should be enjoying yourself. Huh? It's not really my... Here, take this. Okay, I love this game. I love it. I love it. Yep. 10 out of 10. Best game. Okay. Congratulations. What the fuck happened? Don't. Congratulations. Because you solved the case. We're looking forward to working with you. Truly. Well, Brian's awkward attempt at swinging continued until Athena gave him a swift kick to the shin. If I had to rate it, I'd say my welcoming party left a rather synthetic taste in my mouth. But just like that, I became an official member of the Manor Affairs Division. There was no question I felt fortunate to be welcomed as a full-fledged member. I have found my place here. But I also found myself thinking that more exhaustingly tedious jobs were right over the horizon. Yeah. Dang. But such ridiculous feelings. They usually turn out to be wrong. Here's the report. On December 25th, at 9:30 in the morning, there was a murder reported at the London branch of the Bureau. The victim's name? If Redfin or Athena... Oh boy. That's the first case. That was scuffed. Like, the whole thing started because we were like, nah, I don't think Yulia did it. To, yeah, Yulia did it. So, okay. I mean... okay. That happened. Went from... okay. Nothing much to say. I'm just flabbergasted that it took me like 3 to 4 hours just to go from Yulia innocent to Yulia did it. I thought the whole thing was in cahoots. Why was the puddle there? I don't know. Did I get the wrong ending? I don't know. I tried to search on Google about the true ending to this game, but this game is so unknown that there is nothing about it. So I hope I got the right ending. I do like the gameplay. The gameplay does make me feel like a detective, like connecting the dots and shit like that. It's amazing. The presentation of this game is pretty good, I must say. Okay, I think the only other game to have this like similar presentation is Sonic Battle. Like the portraits moving and shit like that. Okay, it felt very dynamic, alive. I like that. I wish more games adopted that kind of style. To be honest, most of them feel kind of static. I mean, I guess that's what helped make Sonic Battle feel more alive as well. But okay, not much to say. And why do I get the feeling that the director might be the final culprit or whatever? Because he does seem a bit sus. Unless he was the one murdered, I don't know. You know, I really hope... I mean, because at the end of the chapter it said, oh, someone was murdered at the Bureau. Or maybe they're reporting it to the Bureau, I don't know. I really hope no one was murdered at the Bureau. I hope Redfin's fine. I hope Thena's fine. I hope Brian is fine. I swear, if Thena dies, I'm going to cry. She's just nice. Anyway, not much to say. But that being said, thank you so much for watching my playthrough of Stafford Case. And if you like what you see, stay tuned and stay awesome. Good night.